Have you ever read this book or heard about Sanford Meisner? Let me give you a little tip. There's a famous exercise he invented called the repetition exercise. This is me teaching it right here in this photo. And essentially this exercise is about you putting your attention on one person, the other person putting their attention on you, and you're essentially trying to listen to them and repeat what they might say about your behavior. When someone says something about the other person's behavior, it gets repeated back and forth until something new happens, forcing you to say something new about their behavior. Maybe they blinked or they smiled, or you noticed that they seemed hesitant. Maybe you say, "You seem hesitant." They say, "I seem hesitant. You seem hesitant." And you go back and forth. Essentially what you're doing is you're letting your instincts drive your acting. And instinct is defined as without conscious thought. Actors famously get locked in their heads, very self-conscious while they act. This exercise helps you get out of your head and into the moment, because you can't be in both of those places at once. This is myself and my first student, Ashton Lewis, on an episode of a podcast that was just recently released. I have a podcast called In the Moment, if you want to check it out on all the platforms. Anyway, the key to this exercise that I've never heard an acting teacher talk about is the muscle you're training while you're doing this exercise, which is this one. You're not supposed to focus on yourself in this exercise. You're supposed to focus on something outside of you, getting you in the moment. But what that other person might say, which you then have to repeat, is something about your behavior. They may say, "You look determined," at which point you might have a moment of self-consciousness where you think, "I do look like that," or "Do I look like that?" A moment of self-consciousness. Well, what are you supposed to do about that? The immediate thing you do in this exercise is put all your attention back on the other person. And that's the muscle you're working in this exercise. As soon as I'm in my head, how quickly can I put my attention back on the other person? Here's why this works and why it makes sense. Say you're going to the gym and you want to make your muscles stronger. It's ironic because to make the muscles stronger, you have to push it to exhaustion, to failure. And then your muscle fibers grow stronger and they grow bigger as a result of you breaking them down. So resistance is necessary for growth. This is true in all areas of life. So in acting, it's no different. If you want to actually get better at acting, you need to actually get better at being in the moment. You do that through this exercise. As soon as someone makes you self-conscious because they noted something in your behavior, how fast can you put your attention on them and repeat? Do something, right? Listen, repeat, listen, repeat. Those are things you can actually do. And the foundation of truthful acting, as Sanford Meisner said, is the reality of doing. You really listen and you really repeat. The more you do this, and I've done this with hundreds of students, the more you do this, the more you train your brain to be more present. You train your brain to do things with reality instead of thinking about how you look or how you sound. I do this with all my students. So if you want one-on-one training,